says on live. Why is it? That is weird. Edit. All right. Well, this was weird. Again, it did something different. It was different today. It didn't give me the normal thing, and I didn't set the time. It just went live. So, if you can see me and hear me, say something here in the live chat. There was no go live button up here like there normally is. This is, there we go. You can hear me? Dennis, you guys can hear me? Wow, we got a lot of new people right now. That's weird. Also, David. Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. I'm not alone. I don't know. I probably got an email that I didn't read about it or something. In fact, I got to edit the title of this because I think we already did 96, didn't we? Yeah, that was yesterday or 2 days ago. So this is 97. Dan, I think the plan is for the 22nd, 23rd, but I don't think the state's going to let us do it. We're in the city of Los Angeles, and the mayor has said he's going to shut off water and power to anybody doing gatherings. So, pretty draconian if you ask me, but anyway. YouTube are not alone. Anthony, wah wah. You must be a dad. Let's see. Okay, hold on a second. So I'm just messing around with that scale right there. I'm pretty much sticking with it. Yeah, even my video seems like I'm closer than I normally am. That's weird. I don't know what's going on. Did I move my edit? And my coffee was not right this morning, so I'm drinking Diet Coke today. So, and I own stock in Coca-Cola and Starbucks. So, both have done all right. Starbucks has done great. Coca-Cola, not so much. I've only owned Coke for a little while, but Starbucks I've owned for years. I bought Starbucks in 2008 when the market collapsed. So, let's see. So, well, Anthony, it's good to see you. Where are you from? Dennis, it's been a while since I've seen you. Dan, also same. It's been a while. Moses is in the house, I see. Ed, Pepper, Jim Horst, Leo, David Sillers in Scotland, no doubt. Yeah, it's going to be a long time before I'm able to travel overseas. Hoping to get to go to London next spring, but who knows. Actually going to Missouri in a month. So I'm going to be on a plane. Oh, you're from the Netherlands. Okay, great. That's right. I think I knew that. My wife and I went to the Netherlands 2018. It was the last trip to Europe we took. A lot of delay. We were in Amsterdam, Haarlem, and The Hague, but basically our hotel was in Amsterdam. So, but we did a little bit. We went to see some friends and stuff like that. So, hey, welcome. Dennis spelled it right. 90? You're kidding? Gosh. What's funny is looking at the weather for us. Every day, the next 10 days is 91 degrees. 91 is the high every day this week. 10 days in a row, 91. I'm like, California has no imagination weather-wise. So, what I may do, I can turn down too a little bit. Basically, it can jam along with this and tell you maybe what I'm thinking. And it's just basically C to A minor, but with a C on top, and then F with a C on top. So I kind of did a C2 to C chord. So we don't have an F in this note, right? We have C, D, E, G, and A. But it's okay, because these notes all sound great over the F chord. You don't have to play fast, do licks to make it sound like music. Try to create a little theme, like. Oh, I'm out of the key now. I went up to a B note there. So I went C, D, E, G, C, D, E, G, C, E, D, A, C, D, A, C, D, B. So that note's not in the key, but that's such a sweet tone. Do the same lick over all three of these chords. And I'm muting with my right hand. That's an E up there. Ah. Checking the, if there's quite any questions. I've just got a heavy gain Marshall you know, it's amplitude. It's basically a Marshall lead sound. So I basically set it up to be that gainy. Now I don't know what it sounds like through the mango. One thing I like to do too is like I said, I like to skip strings. So you can play the bottom two notes on the bottom string, and then go to the fourth string and play those two notes. Same thing on the next string, like go fifth string and go to the third string. I mean, if you can make that musical. Kind of makes it sound like you're going up the scale faster than you really are. Sounds like you're going like that, but you're skipping. It's a good exercise. I'm playing two notes, double stop. Sorry, a little loud. So yeah, so I'm just kind of playing around within the scale, trying not to use any notes outside the scale. Yeah, no, I could use open strings, but that's not the point of this lesson. So the point of this lesson is to learn pentatonic scales that are movable. And if it has an open string in it, it's not movable. But I can do that. I do it all the time. In fact, if you look at the notes in this scale, the only open string that's not represented is the B string. So yeah. But if I were to go into that do too much depth, it would be off subject. So, and that's the two red notes there are the blues roots. So watch, I'm going to play a different progression now. I'm going to take the gain down a little bit on this. It feels a little bit too much. And I got a little, like a 1/4 progression in A. Now I'm playing the same exact scale, but it sounds bluesy because now I'm in the key of A, and it's an A7 chord. It's a D G7 chord, basically. Yeah, hold on a second. I'll get to that in a second, Dennis. So now I'm going to stay in the scale here. There's the A note right there. Here's the other one. Let me get my... This is Stevie Ray Vaughan lick. I mean, you can play one note and make it work. Okay, so to touch on Dennis's question here, yes. So the idea is of these lessons is to learn the basic. This basically goes to both Vito and to Dennis, but the idea is to learn the basic scale and kind of get it down. Are there other notes you can play around it? Oh heck yeah, you can play open strings, of course, if it's in the key, if it works. I even use open strings that aren't in the key. Sometimes, but the idea here is just to kind of get this scale familiar, memorized. So then yes, Dennis, you can build off of that. Yeah, in a Vito, you can bend on an acoustic, but it's difficult. So sliding would be the substitute for bending. The other thing is if you went with light strings, you could bend on acoustic. But I mean, I'll bend on acoustic, but maybe just a half step. I don't want to. Yeah, it's difficult to bend more than a half step. So you might, you could do maybe something like something like that. Wow, that delay is a lot. I gotta change that. All right, let's see what's caught. Well, feedback, delay time is fine. The mix, it's like that's such a sensitive thing. It's like, okay, so mix is 100%, not 50. Okay. I don't know if you can hear all that delay, but anyway, and then to answer your question, Dennis. There are a lot of notes. You could almost justify all the other notes. So there's 12 notes on per octave, and a pentatonic has 5 notes. I could play, depending on the chord progression or the chord I'm playing over, I could almost justify almost every note, all 12 notes around this. So like for example, I did that little phrase. I really liked it. Now that note, that B note is not in there. And so what I did was I took the 10th fret and went up to the 12th fret on the 2nd string and got that B note. So Dennis is saying when he jams the jam track, it sounds forced. If it depends on you may be in the wrong. Hopefully you're using the right scale. But yeah, scales are only a starting point, particularly pentatonic scales because they're 5 notes. So clearly there's other notes. Like for example, if I were playing over C, this scale works great because it's a C major pentatonic. but if I want to imply like a C7, I could take that A to B flat. I could take that A right there up 1 fret to the B flat. Whereas before I took it to the B natural because I was playing over like this. I was playing over that F chord in the progression. And that's just kind of a sad or beautiful or haunting tone. And so you can find those things. Other licks like the flat 3, that E flat right there, which is in between the E and the D. That note you can use it as a passing tone going from E to D to E. Watch this. Here's D, and here's E. Okay, you can go D, D sharp, E. Right. So you can use it as a passing tone, which means you're just using it for a second. You're using it on the way. It's like being in one city and then going to another city, and there's a city in the middle, and you're just driving through it. That's basically what you're doing. So sometimes, passing tones, they work great as passing tones, but if you sit on them, they may not work. Okay? Like, for example, that E flat would work maybe over the C to create kind of a blues minor over major sound. But then when you get to that F chord in that progression I was playing, that E flat's going to sound wrong. It's going to sound like you're hitting a bad note. The E natural will sound great. So that's kind of where you definitely, like I said, okay, so already I've justified 3 more notes. So now we got the 5 pentatonics plus I found 3 more notes at work. What are some others? Oh, the F, of course, which is part of the C major scale. I wanted really bad to take this E note right there, okay, at the 9th fret on the 3rd string, and do that, but it's not it's not here, and it's not down here. So I didn't do it. But here's what. So I'll do some of these. I'll do some of these additional notes to this scale, okay, and I'll call them out as I do them. Okay, but I want to have a little jam, something to... No, not that one. I got to do the other one, the major one. And again, this chord progression is basically... I'm basically... let me write it out here so you can have it. Add text. All right. Okay. So it's basically C to A minor, 7... to C over F to C. Is that big enough for you? All right, let's see if I can grab this. That's basically this chord progression. And you can see why I would be tempted to play that F note, because but that's actually not so much where I'm tempted to play the F note, because I like playing the E over the F chord, because to me it sounds more beautiful, more interesting. F is a little bit too in the pocket in some ways. So there's C, A minor, 7, and F, C over F. Okay, so I'll do the F. Here's the C. See, I like that. And you might be able to bend that on acoustic, Vito. I'm not sure. The 3rd string is pretty tight and it's wound, so it's tough to bend that. You might be able to do it down here on the 2nd string, but you can slide. You can hammer it on. You can slide. Another thing I do a lot is, you see that? I'm on the A, but I kind of ghost that B flat. I just kind of hint it. I end phrases a lot like that. Put a little button on the end of a phrase. See, I did it right there with the E flat. There's D. So I'm going C, D. Okay, I'll do the. These are all in the key. There's the B right there. So pretty. So that's just a whole step up from the A right here. The red note. It sounds great over the A minor. Sounds great over the C or F. It's the sharp 11 on the F chord. I don't like it as well on the C chord. I want to go to the C. Yeah, the blues note. And it works. See, it doesn't work over the F, but you can use it as a passing. I'll do it over the F. You don't really notice it. I don't think I can justify a C sharp in this. I can't make that one work. A flat is a little tough to justify too. But F sharp maybe? Well, here I could do the F. So check this out. If I take the pentatonic number 1 that we did here in A minor and I move it up to the this 8th fret, so now my first finger is on C. It has a very bluesy kind of rock and roll sound over this progression. It's a little weird. It doesn't sound as good as down there, but that's pentatonic number 1 in the 8th position. And so that's creating a C minor kind of pentatonic tonality over the C major chord progression. All right. All right. Yeah, I mean, when I'm jamming, yeah, everything's fair game. When I'm jamming for you right now, the idea is that I'm trying to model that particular scale and that particular scale shape for you, which is hard because I really do want to get off grid. Literally, that's a grid, and I do want to get off grid. You know what? That's a good idea, Dennis. If I made this iced coffee, it would mellow it out. See, I didn't think the girl put sweet and low in it at the shop, so when I got home, I added some sweet and low, and now it's too sweet. That's a good idea, though. I'll save that, make it iced coffee. Tom's in the zone. Sometimes I'm in the zone, but you're right. That's the place you want to be when you're soloing. I should do a video on how to get into the zone. I don't know that I could do a video on that, only because I don't feel like I'm in the zone very often, to be honest. I feel like I'm thinking too much. When I met Lukather years ago at the NAMM show, Steve Lukather, who's the guitar player for Toto, I was there with my son, and we got a picture taken with him and everything. I was just talking to him briefly and told him, he was a big influence on me. Part of the reason why I moved to LA to do studio work. And he said, "I'm going to tell you what Larry Carlton told me all those years ago." I go, "What's that?" He goes, "Don't think, play." And that's exactly right. So it's kind of like the goal is to have know the progression that you're playing over, okay? Know the chords you're playing over. If a chord's going to surprise you, you don't know what's coming up next, you're not going to get in the zone. You're going to be worried about it. You're going to be thinking about it. You're going to be trying to anticipate it. But if it's like me trying to play over giant steps, I'll never ever be able to get giant steps down because I just don't know what's coming next. And it's just, I mean, I've tried memorizing it, and I can play the melody, the. I know the melody. I know the chords. But when I'm in that's I don't know which is which. We're missing David from New York, who was the guy that knows science, but I forget which one the side of the brain is creative and which side of the brain is more technical. But when you're thinking about the chord progressions, when you're playing the song, when you're doing you're leaning more on the technical. When you go to improvise, then you've got to be more on the creative side of your brain, and then you just in those moments you really have to be intuitive about the chord progression. But if it's a simple chord progression like the ones I've posted here, and you know what scales you know what neighborhoods you have on your fretboard, what notes are good on your fretboard. Another important thing that most people don't consider is if you can hear yourself, but not too much. I like to hear myself pretty much in the mix where I'm going to be. That to me is a great place to solo. If I'm too loud, I'm going to be too self-conscious. If I'm not loud enough, I really can't hear myself, and it's not very inspiring. And that's the fourth thing, and that is having a tone that is inspiring. So I would say those are the four things that will get me into the zone. Knowing what I'm playing over, knowing the notes, knowing the potential notes that I'm going to be using, the scales I'm going to be using for that thing. But that doesn't mean I'm going to play scales. It just means, okay, I've got a grid that I can work from. Basically, like Dennis was intimating that. But you can leave that, right? And I'm like, 100%. Yeah, I won't. I rarely stay. If I hear a note that I want to go to that's outside the key or outside the scale, I will definitely use it. And so knowing the song, knowing the scales that you need for that song, hearing yourself in a decent manner. Like I said, I prefer to hear myself in the mix. And so I love, it's a drag to play a solo over guitar and bass and no drums or something. If the drummer hasn't shown up yet, I'm like, at least drop a beat in there or something for me to play over. That doesn't happen very often. And then the last one is have a tone that you like. So you might have to noodle with your tone until you get a tone you like, and then have them put you in the mix where you are. And then, I think those are the four things that will get you into that zone faster, and it gets me into the zone faster. Once I'm in the zone, then that's when a lot of times the magic happens. And I feel like that's when your brain and your hands are the most connected. I told you this 1,000 times. It's real important to sing along with your playing. If you do that, you're more likely to connect the melodies in your head to your hands. And again, initially when you start singing along with it, you might be dun 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 dun. There might be a lag. Then eventually you'll be the same time, dun, 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 dun. And then eventually you'll be dun 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 dun. You'll hear that in your head, and you'll play it on the guitar. And that's where singing along with your playing. And if you're if you're by yourself, it's not so bad. So I actually did a session. I don't remember what it was for. It was for a Korean record, and it was at Tom Brooks' studio. I remember that. It's the only time I ever went there. Down on Laguna Hills, and they had me scat sing a solo like George Benson because I can do it, but I mean, I don't have a good voice, so. So David Siller says, I'm left-handed and more creative than analytical. Improvise, noodling works better for me than the theory, but Tom is helping. Oh, well, good. I'm glad I'm helping. Yeah, and the theory, again, is it's kind of like what Lukather said, don't think, play. You really, when I say you know the scales, it's more like know your bound, know where you're supposed to be. If you're 100% intuitive on it, you can still find all the notes you need to find without knowing that it's a scale. So that's not a prerequisite to being in the zone or playing a good solo. It just will facilitate many of us that need a little bit more information than here's a guitar. So it's like, okay, where do I put my fingers? So I like to have a little bit of information like that. Let's see. Gary, mine is just confused most of the time. We're talking about the brain. Right brain is creative. Okay, left brain is analytical. So right brain controls your left side of your body, and the left brain controls the right side, which makes sense because I'm doing the improvising with my left hand. I think that's correct, right, Gary? And then let's see. Oh, B Kitty saying hi to Leo. Leo, did you say hi back to B Kitty? Come on, I'm waiting for you, Leo. Oh no, wait a minute, maybe, oh no. Oh, Leo said hi first, never mind. Yeah, always share if you can. I'd love to get my revenue back up. It really dropped off the cliff. I need another hit. I'm a one-hit wonder at this point with the 7 tips for older beginners. I think I've got a couple other videos that are approaching 1 million views, but in the high 100,000s. But it's Bruce is the let's see, the uploads, views. No, I don't have too many that are that close. I've got one over 500,000, 526, but my biggest one is 2.3 million, almost, yeah, 2.3 million. And then 526,000, 429,000. And that one is the 5 songs with only 2 chords. And I did a follow-up to that, 5 more songs with only 2 chords. And that one is hardly got any views at all. It's so weird. And I even put a card in the one that gets a lot of views. And right at the beginning it says, here's one to 5. Yeah, it's not even got 10,000 views, I don't think. Isn't that weird? So one has 500,000, and I went, wow, this thing took off. I should do another one. And then play most any song in Dadgad. The funny thing is I get a lot of comments about the use of the word most. They don't like the colloquialism of that. The English majors out there don't like it. It's mostly women that complain about that, I notice. In fact, it's only women so far that have complained about that. Why do you say most? That's not correct. It's almost. I'm like, I don't know. It fit better on the card. But anyway, I can change the card. I can change it. In fact, did I change the title of that one? I probably shouldn't have. Nope, I never did. Okay. I can easily change the title to play almost any chord. Or any song in Dadgad, but I decided not to. Okay. So what I'd like to do, we haven't done, and if you're wondering what those chords are, that's the chord progression I was jamming over a second ago. So now when you play this, so these are the A roots. If we were to play over an A7 chord, it's a very bluesy sound. And so it's that C note right there on the 8th fret of the first string that clashes with that C sharp. See, if I were to play an A7 chord like this, like a D7 shape, slid all the way up here, and you can go from C to C sharp. That's no problem. It's a little hard on this pattern, on this shape, to get this C sharp because it's out of position. So you have A here on the 7th fret of the 4th string, and then you go with your pinky to get the C, and that means you got to go to C sharp there, or you can get it down here. Sounds like a B-52 song. But that's the relationship between the C and the C sharp. So what you're doing when you're playing this scale, and so it's also an A minor pentatonic. It's C major pentatonic, A minor pentatonic. The notes in an A minor pentatonic. You know what I should do is edit this. Okay, and I'm going to turn this into the A minor pentatonic thing. Notes A, C, D, E, G. Okay, so those are the notes in. I can make it a little bigger, try to match it up with this a little bit. That would be the A minor pentatonic notes. But you can see, in fact, I'll offset it so you can see that whoops, I'll offset me. Come on. I'm trying to click on that. There we go. You can see that they're the same notes. They're just, when I say A minor pentatonic, we're starting on A, and when I C major pentatonic. And those are the only two we're going to reference. We're not going to have a D pentatonic of any kind, or an E pentatonic, or a G pentatonic. No, we're just talking about major and minor at this point. Whatever, be kitty. You're going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble for saying that it was mostly women. But yeah, I'm pretty sure my wife she's an English teacher. So and I asked her, I said, is this wrong? And she goes, no. And she's an English teacher. She goes, no, not at all. She goes, it's colloquial. And I said, yeah, that's what the complaints were. I was being colloquial. I'm like, I'm a colloquial kind of guy. So I should write a song. Living in a colloquial world or something like that. I should just make all my video titles end in a preposition. So when we play this over like this A7 to D7 progression, that A is going to work great over both the A chord and the D chord. Obviously, it works over the A chord, but the D chord is the 5th, so it works. So let me play that progression a little bit, and then I'll if anything comes to mind, I'll stay inside the scale. So I'm only going to use these notes if I can. Okay, this is A7, which has a C sharp, which this doesn't have, and then D7, which has an F sharp, which this doesn't have. But that's okay, because that's what you're playing for. There's a D over the D chord. E is great over the A chord because there's an E in the A chord. Back to the D. And what I did there was I played E and G, which is the 5th and the 7th of the A chord. If I want to get this sound, right here. There's the F sharp. That sounds good. Yeah, I want to go to that F sharp. I also want to go to the C sharp. That C sharp, you know, because that's C sharp's in the A chord. That's the note we're kind of avoiding when we play the blues. But again, B.B. King, he would bend that C up to C sharp. You could do that there. Avito, you might be able to do that on your acoustic guitar on the first string. You might be able to get that 1 fret bend, okay? Might not be too hard. Okay, I see a question there. Question from Cruz. They'll probably could answer that with a YouTube link. Deputy Cruz, hello. Any advice for an older beginner to study? Well, I was just talking about that video that's so popular of mine. That's probably how you came to find me. And those are not studying. I should do that, because that's probably the video I need to do next is what do you study? And that's a bigger question than the 7 tips for older beginners are just practical things to kind of get the guitar in your hand more than not. What happens is, and my point when I said older beginners, I didn't mean old people necessarily. I just meant people that weren't 15 and had a life. You know, they could be 25 and have a wife, a job, and a kid. And it's like, I just don't have 3 hours a day to practice. I'm like, yeah, I know. You gotta be intentional about practicing. But also, you know, my point is have a guitar out, of course, with a little kid around. Might make sense to have it hanging on the wall. I say, you know, have it hanging on the wall. Don't leave it in your closet in the case, or you'll never play it. What is? I don't even remember the 7 tips. One of them is dig your thumbnail into your pads, your finger pads on your fretting hand. If you're right-handed, it'd be your left hand. If you're left-handed, it'd be your right hand. But you know, when you're not playing guitar, because you can't be playing guitar all day, so you're not going to develop the calluses you need, and the pain will go away sooner if you can kind of just dig your thumbnail into them. Let's see, what was the other thing? Don't take on things like, don't go, okay, my goal, I want to play guitar. I've never picked up the instrument. I want to play Cliffs of Dover by Eric Johnson. You know, that's the only thing I want to be able to do. It's like, you're never going to get there. It's just going to be, there's so many fun things you can learn before that. So basically, the whole thing is don't bite off more you can chew. Let's see. Yep. Good, Deputy. Let's see. Yeah, I can give you a link right now. I've got it right here. Literally, it's right here in front of me because I was looking at it, and this is the one that. Oh, and I gotta get the link for the Discord too. That's another thing you should do. Oh, Dr. Respect, we got a new one. The problem I have is left hand wanders off while I concentrate on the right hand. You know, one thing, Dr. Respect, you can do is little baby exercises. I talk about that when I talk about how to play faster. I think I did 10 tips to increase your speed. Yeah, it's weird, the videos that just don't get any spins. Okay, so Discord link. The Discord link, Cruz, Deputy, oh, there we go. It was like weird for a second. Invite people, I'm gonna make this a permanent link. If you're a troll, will ban, Dennis will ban you, or somebody will ban you. Okay, but there's the Discord. So what I would do, and we've been doing this is a perfect opportunity to practice that, is to take a little piece of this scale, like the bottom 4 notes, and practice some ascending. Practice some descending. Practice it ascending and descending. You can also practice in every other note. Just basically with variations. And then do it maybe the next 2 strings. Or you could do 3 strings. Descending. So just start with a very, very small little exercise. It could even just be playing 1 note. But that kind of, you're not doing anything with the left hand. What you're having trouble is coordinating the 2. So that, that's the kind of thing you can do that will start to get your 2 hands together. And I talk about that in my video about playing faster, increasing your speed. And one of the tricks is to really just try to do little exercises that are fast, and then move those to bigger sections of a scale. Just if you can just play. You can slowly add notes to your thing. There was a flamenco study. We're going to take a sip because I'm changing guitars. That's one of our rules. It's a drinking game. We have a drinking game here. But one of the flamenco exercises was basically this, and it's the scale is A harmonic minor, but you start on the E, so it ends up with this very Spanish. Oops. Okay, and what this exercise is you just play the first 2 notes of the scale, and then 3 notes. Let's see. And add a note every time. And the idea is and you can sit on any one of those groupings as long as you want. Like if you just want to do the first 4 notes, you can do that, or you want to get that 5th note in there. Try to get your speed up. That's the idea. So you start with small and add to it, and then add and add and add. And you'll find that your 2 hands will be a little bit more locked, okay, if that helps. That was Dr. Respect's question. Let's see. AB, you joined late. That's all right. Greetings. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's let's see. How do I basically it's just on the bottom string it's 0, 1, 4, and then on the next string it's 0, 2, 3, and then 0, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, and then 0, 1, 3, and then 0, 1, 4, 5. Those are the strings. So 1, 2, 0, 1, 4, 0. So basically, it's we talked about modes. Okay, so if you're wanting to learn about modes, we did a whole series on modes. Actually, one of my favorite things to teach, and I want to do a video on it for my channel. But I've had a hard time trying to figure out how I'm going to teach it, because I kind of want to have a key. I'd love to. It's one of those lessons. It's easier to learn on a keyboard. But the scale that I'm playing is harmonic minor. So A minor, and we learned this when we were learning modes. But A minor is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and A. Okay, that's A minor. A harmonic minor. The only difference is you take that last note, that G sharp, and you raise it up. It's all right, Gon. I'm going to go back to the scale we're supposed to work on today. I've already done quite a bit of work on it, or at least demonstrations on it. But the harmonic minor is with that raised G sharp. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E, F, and G sharp, and A, and that's a harmonic minor. There's also melodic minor. Oops. Oh yeah, the G sharp's there. Okay. And melodic minor would have an F sharp and a G sharp going up, and then it goes away coming down. So it's a very weird scale in that regard. The Segovia scales, which are exercises on the classical guitar that Andre Segovia came up with, like the best way to play these scales. Those are when he does the minors, he does melodic minors. So when he goes up, he raises the 6th and 7th degree, and then when he comes down, he lowers them. Shoot, I don't. Okay, it's just not. That's the Segovia scale, picked with a pick, not how he intended. But I did A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and descending I went A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. So those are kind of like two totally different scales. In fact, melodic minor ascending is almost like an A major scale, except for the C natural. So that's the only difference. But what? Who was it that asked me for that? No worries, Deputy. No, not today, Dadgad. No, Dadgad is fun. It's definitely fun for messing around with. But as far... Oh, and Sergio from Brazil. Oh, my goodness. We've got all these people from all over the place. A lot of new people today. Interesting. Hey, I can tell an old story. I'm running out of stories. Let's see. But shoot, Leo was the one that asked about that. So basically what that one was the A harmonic minor scale starting on the 5th degree. So all of those harmonic minors, I mean, it's basically, just like we had in the key of C, we had 7 modes, right? We had C major, D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian, G Mixolydian, A minor or Aeolian, B Locrian, okay? We had those. There are also, and I don't know the names for them because I'm not like a theory genius, but there are also 7 modes of the harmonic minor. So A harmonic minor, it would be A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. And metal guys use them a lot, okay? So like, you'll hear right? So you hear that, but then if I were to start that scale on the 5th note, so on the G, I'm sorry, on the E, it would be this, which is almost like it's a great. No, it's not quite like a diminished scale, but it starts out with a half step and then goes up to the 3rd. So now you got a major 3rd, a half step, whole step, half step, whole step, and then whole step. So that's the scale. It sounds very, very Spanish. It sounds very exotic. I love that. And then the pattern, which you could apply to any scale you're working on, it's not a bad idea. In fact, we could even do it with this scale here. This scale here. Wait. I got it. This scale over here. Huh? You basically play the first note, the second note, go back to the first, play the 1, 2, 3, and then back down to 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. I'm adding a note every time. Now I'm going to take a note off the bottom. I lost track of where I was. But you can then, as you're adding a note to the top, then once you get all 12 notes down, all 12 tones, when you go back down to the bottom, take off one of the bottom notes. See, I'm stopping there and then going back up. Basically, that I think I kind of did it. I'm not sure. It's not an exercise I really practiced. The only time I ever did it was with the flamenco thing, just to try it. Again, it was one of my many efforts to try to get faster with my right hand on the flamenco stuff, and it just never could get it done. Well, I've been switching guitars a lot, so we can take a lot of sips. I have to resist the temptation to take a sip out of that coffee though, because I made it too sweet. So I'm gonna do. Who was it that said make iced coffee out of it? That's a great idea. So let's see. Was there another question, Bruce? Cruising Respect. If you are new, I do this. Basically, I was doing this when the lockdown started. I started doing this every day at 11 o'clock Pacific time, California time, which is Sergio. You're in Brazil. How many hours ahead of me are you? It's currently noon in Los Angeles. Yes, and Leo, if you want to. I would think this is a great exercise. I need to do this too, but you could go through all of the modes of A harmonic minor and see how they sound, right? Because remember all the modes of C major, they all sounded, like you said, Locrian sounded very Middle Eastern or weird, you know. Locrian sounds weird. Well, what is all the modes? And there are names for them, I just can't. There's actually, I think there's one of them that's called Super Locrian. So, but like the one that's built, let's see, what would it be? Oh, no. That's the one on F, that's built on the F. And that's interesting because it has a G sharp and an A, so it has a minor third and a major third. And the one that's built on G sharp is weird too. But the two most common in that key in harmonic minor would be the harmonic minor and then the fifth mode, whatever that's called. The one in E. And then Dennis. Dennis put up the command zips too. You guys are both on the same page. The official blessing, may you always be in the zone when soloing. You're right. Yeah. I don't know if you want to see me in the zone all the time, because I would forget you're even there. I would just stop. I'd probably leave the room, put my guitar down. I would just get, zoned out. Excuse me. So now I'm doing it Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays generally. So, Sergio. Oh, it's 4 p.m. Wow. So you're 4 hours ahead. So you're 1 hour ahead of New York. Okay. And so, yeah. So basically 3 p.m. your time is when I'm on. With David Sillers, you're 8 hours ahead. So at 11, you're at 7 o'clock. So hopefully you've already had your dinner. Generally, you're here. So I'm assuming you're either eating dinner while watching me or you eat an early dinner. Phrygian with a flat. Let's see. Phrygian. Oh, the G sharp. There's names for them. I looked it up once. Here, in fact, you know what I can do is I can put it under homework. Oh, did you guys, any of you? What is the Texas Blues cheat sheet referred to? I don't know what that is. Somebody asked me a question and I didn't see it. What is this? No. Oh, dang it. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, interesting. Yeah, somebody posted that. I didn't even see it. Who posted this? Hold on. Oh, T did. Okay. I never noticed that they posted this, but Texas Blues cheat sheet. Interesting. Somebody asked me a question. I didn't see it, but what I'll do is I can look up modes of harmonic minor. I recently did this and I found a double harmonic minor. No, that's not what I want. Bum, bum, bum. This harmonic minor modes. So this may be it. This may not be it. I'm just looking for the names. Yeah, they just say mode 1, mode 2, mode 3. Oh, no, okay, here it is. Down here it says harmonic minor, Locrian sharp 6, Ionian sharp 5, Dorian sharp 4, Phrygian dominant, super Locrian. Yeah, see, there's okay, so I'll post this here. I'll post it both here in the chat. Oh, Hero's in the house. There's that, so you can take a look at those. I'm not necessarily endorsing that, but it gives us the names. And then here also, I'll put it in the homework section of harmonic minor modes. So if you're curious about that, there are names for them. That's the thing, as you know, it took me years to remember Locrian, Phrygian, and Dorian, and all that. So the chances of me, I mean, if I look at them, the names make sense. You know, when you say Lydian sharp 2, which is the 6th mode, I guess, which would be, let's see, A. Oh, that's the one. Yeah, that makes sense. Lydian would be with a G. So it's Lydian with a sharp 2. I mean, that's how they came up with the names, and that's pretty lame. They need to come up with cool names like Lydian, Phrygian. I'll leave that up to Gary. He's the one he'll come up with names for all of them. Let's see. Hero, thanks, Tom. I must leavest the room. Wife calling for lunch. Catch up on the next record. Rest. Oh yeah, that's fine. Thank you for watching. It all helps. And let's see. Speaking of analytics, where are we at here? Yeah, it's in the 8,800 range, but that's mainly because we're online right now. So. Okay, so I was going to. So we did the two chord progressions, the kind of the very C centric, C major one, right? I love what an episode of Cheers where they're talking about somehow going to come up the Canaanites and the Philistines and all the and then Cliff thinks he's being funny and he says, "Oh, where did the Cellulites? Where are the Cellulites in the Bible?" And Norm said, "They settled in the land of Vera." It's like, oh, that's wrong. Hey, Max, good to see you. So yeah, I mean, if we want, we can do that exercise that I was just doing, where I just add one note to it. So we go, so bottom string, second finger, So on the 8th fret, go pinky, back down, and then back up, pinky, and then to the first finger, and then back down to the pinky, and down to the root, and then back up, and then back down from there. And then we're going to add another note with the delays. And the only reason really to do this exercise is to get to memorize the scale and to maybe get some right hand, left hand coordination going. Okay, kind of taps into what I forget who it was. If it was Cruz or it was Deputy Cruz or Dr. Love or whatever doctor was. I forget who asked about getting the hands being out of sync. But that definitely would help if you were to. That's hard. It's hard. It's hard taking away the bottom ones. Just not something I ever practiced, but it's a play off of that flamenco exercise that I showed you. Okay. So, like I said, some of the sweet notes around this, the E's, you can go up to the F are nice if you're playing in C. You could go to the flat, the flat E flat, which would be the flat third in this situation. Okay. Okay, you could do that. We could go to the B natural, which is the one note, a half step below the root. So, a lot of times it's going to want to go to the root, but sometimes it's better if you don't. Leave that tension, right? Music is about tension and release. It's about creating conflict and resolving the conflict a lot of times. And so. There's the release, or there's the resolve. Like I said, there's that B again. I don't know why it makes me think of the ballad from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I don't know if that. There's something. It's a great song, though. It's a great book. I loved that book as a kid. I probably read it 10 times. But let's see. Some people think the shortest guy in the Bible was Nehemiah, but it was actually Bildad. Man. Wow, Gary. How many kids do you have? I'm assuming you have children. Yeah, exactly. Ed's saying, don't quit your day job. Now, I think what I could do is I could do both of these scales. See, it's good to go back and forth. So this is the one that, let's see. I'm going to go like this. Check this out. I'm going to make this bigger. Okay, like that. Hiding the other one. So let me do, I'm going to go back and forth between both of these. Not with this. I'm going to use the major progression. I'm going to try, again, I'm going to try to stay with the scale tones. So it's going to be a little bit more basic. It's going to be, those notes down there. comparison, right? And so it's very, very common to kind of do scales that go like this, right? Using the boxes to kind of go diagonally up the fretboard. So what you're doing is you're using the range of the next scale up to go higher. But I could do the opposite. Where I'm actually playing the scales this way. Which I like the sound of that, actually. Just depends on what the moment brings. There's the B. Gary, did they leave because of the jokes? Or did they just grow up out of that? See, my kids left because of the jokes. They were actually they were 12 when they left the house. They were just tired of the dad jokes. There's a hint to our next scale, right? That sounds like John Mayer. I don't know what percussive sound I'm doing. God, it's a bad note. So there I was using the F natural. That I'm just muting the right hand, so I'm this part of my hand is on the strings. So if it's that. Doing double stops there, like I'm top two strings. Oh, that probably just a pick. I'm using the gravity picks, which have a little bit of abrasion on there. A lot of times, if I want even more pick sound, I'll use these West German picks. This is the same one that the Edge uses. Sorry, again. All right, that's got to be. I don't know if you're jamming along with me. Hopefully, some of you are. But basically, I was trying to stay within those two scales. Okay. If we were to go to the top two strings to get the next top two strings of the next shape, which would be pentatonic number 3 in my numerology. This way. Then it's not like you wouldn't go to a guitar teacher and say, "Oh, I learned pentatonic number 3 today." He would go, "What are you talking about?" You know. But it's the third one. So this is the first one. This is the second one that we've been working on. The third one, if we go to the 10th fret and then go 10, 13, 10, 12, like that. That's an A note. It's the same as the fourth and third string of the second pentatonic shape. It's the same shape. And it's kind of a nice little area there because you got that F right there. You got the blues. You got that B there. Okay, so let me just show you. I'll play a little bit of the jam so you can see what I'm talking about. Just on this. So anyway, that's just kind of give you a glimpse of the next scale. We'll hit that one next week. I'm kind of scaring everybody off with all my soloing. Let's see. Yeah, I should keep my day job, yes. Yeah, my daughter just got a job. And they arrived safely last night in Joplin after driving two long 13-hour days from LA. They what was I gonna say? But she got a job as a teacher, doing helping with the STEM department of a fourth grade school. It's a school that only has fourth graders, which is weird. So I guess the grade school has K through, and maybe they have preschool too, K through 3, and then the junior high is 5 through 8, and then this fourth grade thing is like a transition. And she's doing like STEM stuff. She's doing tech, helping the kids with the computers and all that stuff. And so that was. Dennis, can you do a V or A-shaped scale progression? I'm not sure I understand. Oh, your father-in-law well, my daughter lives in Webb City. That's where she rents a room from a friend who just built her first house. She's like 25 years old. She built a house. It's like, are you kidding me? God, you get my first house till I was like 90. Hashtag California. Oh, instead of just going high or low, or vice versa, can you do A or V-shaped scale progression? Oh, you mean like diagonal? You mean like... with the 5th and 7th scale. Dennis, I wish I understood. Sometimes the way I understand things is not how everybody else thinks of them. So, yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I definitely think it's something you should do. I don't know if this is what you're referring to, Dennis, but I mentioned it a couple days ago. Let me see if I can find fretboard diagrams. Blank. Oops, not blank. Blank. Fretboard diagrams. Something like that. Images. So you could see. I want one that's got like a lot of frets. You know, something like this. That's just a little JPEG though. This only goes to the 15th fret. I'd love to go further, but if you well, let me see. I want something. Sorry. Tom is Googling again. What's this one? This one looks like, oh, this one goes up 2 octaves. Okay, now this one, see if I can print this. It'll let me print. Nah, it's not going to print it right. Sorry, I'm just looking for. Thought I had something. You know, I may have something like this already. Yeah, maybe that's a better name for it. Guitar player resources string. All right. Oh, this one could work. What the heck? Yeah, this will work. Let me just print this up. Okay. I'll put the link here. I'll also put it in the. So here's what I'm printing up right now. VZ scales. So instead of diagonal, you're saying like V. I mean, yeah, I think like if. I mean, you could totally go back and forth on that. So I just printed up this. This is 24 fret neck right there. You see that? And what we can do is, and I'm going to post this in the Discord as well, so we have it there. All right. And I'm going to take one of my pens, wherever they are. Yeah. In the Pumping Nylon book. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dot on every one of these notes, the C, D, E. Okay, so we actually have open, 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 not the B string. So if I go up the low E string, then I'm going to go 3rd fret is G, A, 5th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret, 12th fret, 15th fret, 17th fret, 20th fret, so on. I'm a little weird because it has those dots in there. That's going to make it a little bit tough. But if I used a different color pen. Okay, on the A string, it's A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A. On the D string is D, E, G. Yeah, see, I don't like these dots here. G, A, C, D, E, G, A. Okay, I need to find one without these dots. Okay, on the G string is G, A, to C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, and G. On the B string, it's C, D, E, G, A, C, D. I'm just all of those notes, all 5 of them. Yeah, let's see, where are we? Yeah, I see. It's just a little too messy with those other. Unfortunately, with those other dots, so I picked the wrong grid. Let's see, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A. Okay. And then the E string is going to be the same as the low E string. C, D, E, G, A, C, D, and E. Now, what happens though is I can start to see the different patterns. See, again, with those other dots, it really messes me up, but I will do this right. But you can kind of see the patterns there. Okay, and all I did was I wrote in I put a dot on every C, D, E, G, and A on the fretboard, and if you do that, you'll have all of the scales, and all of the pentatonic scales in that key. You'll see them all right there. They'll start to lay out. Now, it'll look just like a bunch of dots at first, but as you start to kind of put brackets around them and start playing them, you'll see them. But yeah, as far as playing up and down, it's if you know all of them. And I'll tell you, number 3 of the 5, number 3 is the worst one. Okay, so number 1 is the best one because the number 1 pentatonic scale, if you remember, let's see, where is it? There. It had two minor roots and 2 major roots. Okay, I mean, sorry, 3 minor roots and 3 major roots. It was the only one that had that. I need color pens. I know I have color pens somewhere. I'm sure Beth does. I just need to not have big giant dots that look like the big giant dots that I'm making. If they had little dots there, it would be fine. Or if they were grayed out or something, it'd be fine. So not the best. Not the best. I mean, you could use that for other things, but it's not the best. It's not the best chart for what I was trying to do. So, and pentatonic number 2, remember that one had 3 major roots and 2 minor roots. So the pentatonic number 1, this one here, is the only one that has 3 major roots and 3 minor roots all contained within it. So you've got lots of landing spots that help it make it sound like you know what key you're playing in. Pentatonic number 2 had 3 major roots and 2 minor roots. Pentatonic number 3 only has 2 majors and 2 minors. I think, no, pentatonic number 4 also only has 2. Pentatonic number 5 has 3 minors and 2 majors. So, but pentatonic number 3 is bad because it only has 2 of each. It's also bad because it has a position shift in it. So the scale itself is over 5 frets, not like 4 frets, like all the other scales. All the other of the 5 scales, 4 of them are all within 4 frets. But pentatonic, what I call pentatonic number 3, and we're going to get to that on Monday. That one doesn't have, it's not as small, contained. It's 5 frets, and you need to shift. It's not particularly hard to play. It's just, yeah. And I use it, like I said, I use the top 2 strings on that one a lot. I like playing up in that area because it gives you access to that B natural in the key of C, for example, that E flat, that F, the B flat, all the sweet notes are all right there. So it's going to get used. But it's also, the other thing that makes it not the best one is, or the worst one of the 5, in my opinion, is that it's far away from the best one. Okay. And part of what makes number 2 really good and number 5 really good is that those are the 2 scales that bracket number 1. And like I showed you in the George Harrison solo, he uses what I call pentatonic number 5 and pentatonic number, this is pentatonic number 5 here, and then into 1, and then up to 2, back to 1, back down to 5. Back to 1, and up to 2. The other solo is and he ends up in pentatonic number 4. Now, pentatonic 4 isn't bad. The reason it's not bad is it's built kind of around that A chord there. In this case, the A form. So it's fairly easy to find if you know your power chords on your 5th string. The other thing is it's kind of shaped like number one, so it's very familiar feeling. But it only has two A's in it. In this case, two C's. And if we're playing acoustic, it's going to be a little tough to do this one. And then the next one is five, and five's pretty good because it plays weird. And again, we're not there yet, but it shares a side with pentatonic number one. So remember, you use your first finger on every note, on every string of pentatonic number one. In pentatonic number five, you're going to use your pinky on every. Okay, so that's going to make it a little bit less attractive. But again, the main notes you're going to use in this one will probably be down here, because you're going down. You're trying to create lower range to pentatonic number one, because what it is the next note down. So it gives you more range to pentatonic number one. So that's why people use number five. But it has two C's and three A's. So it does have three blues. So it's a good one for the blues. Oh. Nice. Mick Mike. Nice. Good to see you again. So, all right. So let's see. Give me some subjects. You might be able to help me think of a story. Let's see, story time. But I need an idea. I'm trying to think of what. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, did I have a groupie? No. No. Although when you play music, let's see. I mean, I took a girlfriend to gigs, but that's different. Beth, we had a band together, so she's not a groupie. She's a co-bandmate. Oh, and that's one rule. Musician rules: never join a trio with a married couple. No, Rick Springfield. Rick Springfield, yeah, he was never a groupie. For me, anyway. What's his name? Tim Pierce played with Rick Springfield, yeah. Tim toured with him for years, played on a lot of his records. That was kind of how he got his start. Tim Pierce got his start in LA, playing with Rick Springfield. Rick Springfield actually worked at the YMCA in La Cañada before he got the gig, the acting gig on General Hospital, I think he was, and then he became a pop star. There's a movie. Also, there's an app called Just Watch. If you're like me and you have a million streaming things, you can download this free app. It's called Just Watch. And you enter the name of the movie or the TV show or whatever in that, and it'll tell you which of the streaming services has it for free, so you'll know, oh, shoot, that's the one. Okay, that's where... So, most weird moment, probably already the Culver Military Academy with the Malachi Says Freeze was pretty weird. But I thought of something a second ago, and now I can't remember what it was. Somebody said, "Oh, did I ever have a groupie?" No, I was thinking of something before that. Oh, I know what there have been 2.5 times when I didn't pull the trigger fast enough on a guitar that I should have bought. And the first one was I was teaching it at the music store in Carmel, which is now I think Carmel Music in Indianapolis or Carmel, Indiana. It was Jack Phelan's studio before that, and I took lessons there, and then I became a teacher there. I'm probably one of the few that actually did that. And so, yeah, the not my Strat. My main Strat is in the my gig bag because I just used it the other day and was had it out. But no, I mean those are all tools. I mean sentiment. The 335, the Gibson 335 over there. It looks, yeah, it's the kind of the tobacco sunburst. That one I bought with money that my dad left me when he passed away. So I kind of like to pretend like my dad took me to a store and bought me that guitar because he would have loved to have done that, but he just never had any money. When you get divorced 3 times, you keep changing jobs and you keep moving, you're gonna have, just those are the 3 things. Those are the 3 biggies. But yeah, and then I use this Martin a lot. That Martin gets a lot of use, and it was an abused child. I got that at Guitar Center many years ago, probably about 2010, I think. And it was abused. I got a good deal on it. I mean, it's a 70s Martin. 70s Martins aren't really known as being good instruments, and so and this one had been modified. I'm not sure if it was a lefty turned into a right. I think that's what it was originally, a left-handed guitar. So they changed it to a right hand. So it kind of had some marks on it, weird things. But somebody noticed that it had fret markers on both sides, which I guess most Martins don't have, which is weird. And it's got a crack right here, like, and then the big giveaway, for one thing, the bridge is all, the pick guard is all messed up, but you can actually see where they filled in wood here. The saddle angles this way, like this, but it used to angle this way, and so they took out the saddle, filled in the wood, recut it for this way, and the intonation is pretty good on it. Not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. It's been used on a lot of records and a lot of TV shows and movies and junk like that. So, it's kind of my go-to. I need to have it worked on, but when I was teaching at Phelan's, whenever I had a canceled student, they would get me the students and everything. Whenever I had a canceled student, I would have a half hour to kill, and so there was this gorgeous blonde 2-pickup 175 Gibson 1959 Gibson 175 hanging there, and it was only $300. And I loved that guitar. I picked it up. Every time I sat, every time I had a break, I'd go out there and play it, and it just was like, oh, this guitar is great. And it's so weird because I taught there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I couldn't do Fridays because after school, because I was oftentimes having to go out of town for a gig. My band was playing pretty much every Friday and Saturday night somewhere in Indiana, and Malachi. And so, I woke up Friday morning and I'd kind of decided I was going to buy that guitar, and it had been there for weeks. And I made a special trip up to Phelan's. Didn't even call, should have, but didn't even call. I got up there and somebody had bought it. In fact, I'm trying to remember what the name of the band was. The guitar player, they were kind of more like a pretty mellow band. And I wouldn't have used it in Malachi necessarily. Because it was such a funk band. But it was one of those that got away. And $300 for a 59 Gibson. But this was 1980. And I was very stingy with money because I was power saving to move to California. So I was basically trying to save as much money as I could. One of the things I did was the band, like I said, Malachi, all those guys were like 10 years older than me. So they're in their late 20s. And most of them had wives or girlfriends, and they did not want to hang out late at the gig or have to get there early, or they had jobs to come from. So they kept showing up late, and I'd get there. Some of us would get there early to set up, and so they decided to hire a roadie, and I also got paid extra because I was a young buck to go early and stay late with a crew to set up the band, to set up the PA system and everything, and all the gear. And so I made, I think, an extra $25 a gig or something like that to do that. And so I was like, anything I could do to get some extra income. I paid for my college. I think I paid for the second semester of my college. Mom paid for the first semester, and then I paid for the second semester. And then that's probably why I quit, because it was like, yeah, I don't want to spend that kind of money. And I'll never save up enough to go to California. So, and I was already so busy. I had 40 students a week, and I was playing in a band that played pretty much every Friday and Saturday, and Tuesday, Thursday we would rehearse late night. So most of my lessons were done on, like I'd finish teaching at 6 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So those were partial days, but Mondays and Wednesdays were long days. I remember they were like 5 hours solid in a box. So I had 10 students in a row in a box. I mean, I would walk out of there and that box would still be around my head. But that was the first time that there was a guitar that I just, dang it, why didn't I buy it? And I was like, oh, it still hurts to this day. It was so long ago, almost 40 plus years ago, and it still hurts. The other one was same kind of thing where I was at my friend's store, Scott Jennings. He had a store called Route 66 Guitars. He was one of the owners of Voltage Guitars in Hollywood, and then he split off and started Route 66 in Pasadena. And I bought, let's see, what did I buy from him? Nothing in here. But I bought my Gibson Dove from him. I know that. I'm trying to think about. I almost bought a 63 Strat that had been refinished for $2,500, and at the time that would have been the most I ever spent for a guitar. I love that Strat, and I don't really regret that one because it wasn't like it was $200 or something like that. Uh-oh. I see it. Come on. No, it's at my end. Okay, I'm green now, but it was red when I noticed you said something. I've got a little indicator down here at the bottom of OBS, which is what I'm using. So it seems to be okay. But yeah, and this is a story, so if it's just the audio, you're fine. But Scott, and then he moved to a different location, a smaller location, not in Old Town Pasadena, where in Old Town, it was expensive rent. And so he moved to a smaller location, more on the east side of town. And I walk in, and I'm, like I said, I always have, and in my head, for years I had this price point, this $300 price point. Like if something was cool and it was $300 or less, I'd buy it. I post a link to it. Oh, this thing, I can post that. Yeah, I can post it. I can scan that. Like I said, I don't really like it because because the dots. You know what, Bruce? I'm not gonna do. I'll redo this on a better piece of paper, on a better fretboard diagram thing. I regret putting that up. In fact, I can even take it down. Boop. Oh, everybody's leaving. Where did I put? Oh, it's up here. Wow, all the way up here. Okay. Remove. So I would $300 would be a pretty good price for most things. And there was this weird looking instrument, $300. It was like this acoustic lap steel. It was like an acoustic lap steel. It was made out of koa wood. It was called some weird name, And this is before the internet. And I went, oh no, you're fine, Frank. I could do, yeah. I could do something like that. I'll figure it out. I could also do it on my, create a big giant diagram on my computer. It'd just take a while. Oops, dang it. I'm going to try to get the right windows up. Here we go. So, yeah, I could do that too. So I didn't buy the thing. I went home. I sat around. I was like, you know, I should buy that thing. It's, I don't know. It's like a slide, acoustic slide. And I go there and it was gone already. And it was a Weizenborn Hawaiian lap steel, and it was only $300. Again, $300. I don't know why that's happened twice. And this was years later. This would have been maybe mid 90s. Like I said, I still regret that. And those things are worth like $5 or $6 grand now. So it would have had huge upside potential. And it may have been in bad shape. I don't remember. I remember looking at it, it was pretty nice shape, and it was from the 20s. But it was I still don't have one. It's actually on my short list of things to get. The people that made my the bouzouki, the Irish bouzouki, gold tone, they make one, and I'm pretty much just going to buy one of theirs. I may spend a little extra money to get the mahogany one, but given up trying to find a Weizenborn. Bruce, if you want to start making those, might be a good. And then there was a third time. This was not so radical, but it was kind of one of those things where I was at Guitar Center, same place I bought this guitar, and somebody brought in it was up on the wall. I want to say a Collins, but it wasn't a Collins, but it was a nice acoustic guitar. And it was $1,100, which is not cheap, but that's what I paid for this one. And so I went home, and Alex was home, and I said, you know what? You need a good acoustic. Why don't we go over and see if that one's still for sale? I'll buy it, and you can pay me back if you like it or whatever. You can buy it from me later eventually. He goes, sure, let's go. And we're walking. We drive back over to Guitar Center, and we're walking in, and there's a guy about my age walking out with that guitar. He just bought it. I was like, dang it. This is like, what? The Weizenborn, the same thing. I mean, I saw it on a Friday morning, and I went back Friday afternoon, and it was gone. And it's like, oh, I need to stop doing that. Yeah, and those, the Weizenborn, I don't think Scott knew what he had. I don't know where he got it from, but he, and there probably no serial number on. But yeah, $300. I'll spend $80 on a Squire that I'm gonna. I've got enough Squires now. I don't need any more. Like I said, the things I'm getting right now, like the latest things I'm getting are, I can never have enough nice acoustics. I wouldn't mind getting maybe a nice boutique acoustic that I could use for session work. But the weird instruments, like I bought the Bode Sultry. We did the unboxing here. Bruce, it's going to be exciting when I get the cigar box guitar. We'll get to do an unboxing. I'll have to not open it until our normal time. I saw the hurdy-gurdy. I've thought about getting a hurdy-gurdy. It's mostly violin players that play them because it's pseudo violin. Hurdy-gurdy is this kind of, it's like this, you turn this crank, it's like a wheel that's abrasive, and it is basically bowing, I think, 4 strings, and then you've got this thing on top. It's a box, and you got buttons, and you push the notes you want. I've been called a couple times, asked if I do play it. I want to get a saz. A saz is a Middle Eastern instrument that's generally 3 strings, long neck, and a kind of a bulbous body, and then a Greek bouzouki, which is almost very similar, kind of similar to a bouzouki. I wouldn't mind getting a bass. Although somebody told me I can tune that string up, I'm still paranoid about it. Yeah, hurdy-gurdy was a medieval instrument, exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting well, 18. I've got enough guitars that sound like an 18. Um, yeah, I wouldn't mind getting like an Olson, which is what James Taylor plays. Um, something that's just sounds super duper refined and boutiquey. I love Martins because Martins to me sound like guitars. Taylors sound like Taylors, Gibsons sound like Gibsons, but Martins just sound like guitar. Because Dylan played a Martin, uh, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young played. They played Martins. There's so many. Yeah. Um, Scandinavian violin. Is that what a hurdy-gurdy? It's another name for hurdy-gurdy. Yeah, I'm so bummed about the Weisenborn. This really bums me out. I've sold stuff that I wished I hadn't sold, of course. I had a Gibson L5S. You can look that up. I thought, oh, I need a Les Paul, so um, I should get the best Les Paul. And I thought, instead of buying a Les Paul, I'll get an L5S, which is like really, it's gold hardware. The body was like thick in the middle and thin on the edges. It had binding everywhere. It was gorgeous. I didn't realize that they were low output pickups. So I couldn't get a good sound out of the pickups. All the distortion sounded fuzzy and everything. So I ended up trading that guitar because I didn't know what I had. I don't think I even have any pictures of me playing it, which is a bummer. I think I posted pictures on the Discord page of me playing my Les Paul that I bought from John Dimwitty, also for $300. With $300 a guitar. John Dinwiddie sold me his Fretless Wonder Les Paul for $300, and I traded that in on. I may have traded it in on the L5S. I don't remember, but Gibson had an L5, which was a hollow body, but the L5S, the S stood for solid body. So look up Gibson L5S sometime, and mine was blonde. Gibson L5. Yes, I think it's L5S blonde. I can look real quick and see what shows up. Bob Gibson L5S blonde. No, it's not the L6. It's the L5. I see a. Yeah, see, it's going for $6,300 for the Sunburst one. Mine didn't have that big. See, mine didn't have the big the tailpiece. Mine had a stop tailpiece. So mine might have been a. Yeah, see, here's mine. In fact, this even looks exactly like mine. No pick guard. Hilarious. 78. That makes sense. $5,000. Mine wasn't worn out there, but again, I got rid of this so long ago. But this, I mean, boy, if I would I consider naming my guitars? Patty Gurdy, huh? Funny. I never did. I've never named any of my guitars. I really never have. I don't name my cars either. My mom named our car Bessie, I think was what my wagon was called, but I never. My mom would always talk to the car. So, yeah. So that's it. Let's see if there was another one. That's the same one. Yeah, this looks a lot like mine. Oh, this is an 80. Mine could have been an 80. I don't know that I ever had. Yeah, it must have sold. Gary's Classic Guitars. The crazy thing about it is, if you look at this one, look at the back of this Gibson. The back of this Gibson, the L5S, I think, and somebody who's better with wood grain can tell me, but I'm pretty sure that's the piece of wood they cut out of there, or they cut another piece of wood to use as the cover. So they didn't use a plastic cover on the back of the guitar. They actually covered it with the same wood. If you look at that, it's gorgeous. I mean, like I said, it was like, to me, I thought it was like, oh, this is like a really nice Les Paul. But to be honest, the pickups were really weak. Now the older ones, the 77 and earlier ones, have one of those, have a big tailpiece on it, and kind of like the Gibson, the L5 would have. So that was one that I regretted. Well, I mean, I don't know at the time I regretted. Well, of course, I also had a Champ amp that I sold for like $50, but it wasn't blackface. I'm pretty sure my Champ amp was silverface, so it wasn't. Because I didn't start playing guitar until 1970, so there would be, I've never owned a legitimate blackface Fender amp. And it's funny, Slash, you say Slash from Guns N' Roses, Mike prefers $300 guitars. Yeah, I like I like the sound of, for clean stuff. I do like the sound, even for like reverby, effecty kind of sounds. I like the Squiers, because the pickups are, they're not very good. They're kind of underwound. They're thin sounding, and I kind of like that. It's very 80s sound. No, it's all right. I got the. But Slash has probably more. Whatchamacallit, 59 Les Pauls than anybody. He probably has 10 or 15 of them, and they're all worth at least $250,000 each, probably close to $1 million. Some of them, they're kind of the 59 Les Paul, 58, 59, 60, but mostly 59 Les Pauls is kind of the Stradivarius of the guitar. I mean, they're still much more valuable than the Fenders. Fenders were kind of an everyman guitar, like they started those guitars so that everybody could play guitar. And so Fenders originally weren't very expensive. Gibsons were always kind of on the pricey side. In fact, the names of the Gibsons, the 335 and the 355 and the 175 and the 125, those actually were the original prices. That's where they got the names from, which is really weird. And so, but the Les Paul was, that thing was only made for a little bit, and they just didn't sell very well. And so they didn't make very many of them. And then they brought them back, and they continued. The Les Paul model looked more like an SG, I think. And so, but McCarty was the one, I think, what's his name? Because I have a McCarty model, Paul Reed Smith, that I never play. That would be one I might sell just because I just never play it. I'm just waiting for it to go up in value. It's probably, if I were to look on Reverb, I'm not sure how, PRS McCarty soap bar, because I wanted a guitar with soap bar. I didn't have any soap bar pickups. Let's see. Oh, PRS. I hate. Stop doing PRS. McCarty is right. PRS McCarty S soap bar electric guitar top charcoal burst. Okay, now this has gotten up there a little bit. I don't know. This is pretty ugly though, and that doesn't really. It doesn't really look like mine. What year is it? Oh, it's brand new. Interesting. Well, they want $4,400 for it. Yeah, mine's a double cutaway, I think. Mine, and the thing I like about it, the thing that's nice about the PRS, the only PRS that I have, and again, I wanted a soap bar, and I was shopping around, and I almost bought a vintage 60s Gibson SG that had soap bars in it, but it just felt like it was falling apart. See you later, Jimmy. I do have guitar with lipstick pickups. A couple. I have a Let's see, what do I have? Well, Telly's technically have a lipstick in the neck. Um, I do have a Dan Electro, a U2 Dan Electro that has a um, thing, in it. Uh, what else? Um, but yeah, the PRS. I'll have to look and see if those things are. I'm not sure how to spell McCarty, um, but he was the one that designed the original Les Paul, and then they start bringing it back in the '70s. And the Les Paul I bought from John Dinwiddie, that one was kind of what's known today as a fretless wonder, and it just had really low frets. And the thinking I think was that you could lower the action and play really fast, but it was really hard to bend on. You try to bend and the string would go right under your finger. You need to have some fret to bend because you got to get your it's this the you got to get some kind of, I don't know what it is, but the string will slip out from under. So anyway, uh, can you show your Mac? Oh, show Mac your lipstick guitar. Oh, it's not in here. I just moved it to the other room. So I don't want to leave the room right now because I've been going for 2 hours. So we're gonna pick up on Monday. I'm gonna give you the next. We're gonna try to go to the next one, number 3, the least popular one. Okay. I'll try to remember to bring out the lipstick guitar. Right now the strings are super old on it, but it's basically a Dan Electro, and so we'll hit that later. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna take off. I hope you guys are doing well. I don't know where the button is for. It's so weird. There's no button to end the live stream. See, this is what I can't figure out. Something happened here. Yeah. What the heck is going on? Okay, well, we'll see what happens here. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna try to exit. See, my screen just went blank. Hmm.